4 from 3. But remember, Jeff Green, 48 hours before, had scored 27 points on 8 of 11 from the floor and 7 of 8 threes. Last night, Jeff Green went 2 of 9 and 1 of 4 from 3. Blake went 1 of 4 from 3, and Blake had made 3 of 6 back in Game 5. So all of a sudden, you've got 3 starters going 1 of 4 from 3. Well, that won't work. And obviously, Joe Harris is the odd man out because he's going to get open looks if he really wants them. To me, Shannon, Joe Harris found the stage too big for him. He looked scared to me. And once a couple don't go in, he really started to pull that string, and he was short. You know, he wasn't following through. It got ugly. It got scary bad for Joe Harris. So when the role player, I know the biggest, oldest cliche in the NBA playoffs is role players don't play well on the road. They only play at home. Well, this was about as classic as no role players as you'll ever see.
Well, Skip, Joe Harris hadn't played well at home either. And you know this, Skip, as the rounds advance, the stage gets even larger. And so that's what we're starting to see. Plus, you don't have Kyrie. You don't have James Harden that's operating at his apex. So the wide open looks that he was getting against Boston, he isn't there. Also, Skip, since James Harden is a little hampered, they can switch 1 through 4 with him. If they can switch Giannis on him, they can switch P.J. Tucker, they can switch Middleton, they can switch Holiday. So it's not like he has an advantage, especially since he's somewhat limited with that hamstring. What they need is, Skip, even though Kevin Durant had a game for the ages, a historic game, a transcendent game, one of the best games that you've seen in the last 20 years. Without Jeff Green doing what he does, they don't win that game. Without Blake Griffin doing what he does, they don't win that game. So now you get Kevin Durant. He still gave you 32 and 11 on 50% shooting, but you got nothing else from no one else. Even though James Harden gave you 10 more points than what he gave you the previous game, you look at Jeff Green. He gave you what, 19, 20 points less than what he gave you? What about Blake? He gave you 10, 12 less than what he gave you? That was the difference in the ball game. Kevin Durant also, Skip, this is why I know he was tired. He had 7 turnovers. James Harden had 4. So 11 of the 16 turnovers that they had, the 2 primary ball handlers turned it over the most. So that's when I know fatigue was starting to set in, because I look at KD, and KD was a little careless with the basketball when as you mentioned, 48 hours earlier, he was sensational. He could do no wrong. But that was my only concern with Kevin Durant. I know he's going to be efficient, but could he put together another game like he had? I'm not saying, Skip, it's very rarely. I don't know if we've ever seen guys have historic games back-to-back. Now, if we want to go back and nitpick, says, okay, look at LeBron, what he did in the 2016 Game 5, 41, 16, and 8, and then he turns around 41, 11, and 7. But for Kevin Durant to ask KD to go, okay, KD, we need a 49-17, or how about a 45-14 and 10 ball game again? Skip, the role players are going to have to, especially with James being nicked. I'm worried about KD. Would I be surprised if KD gave you 40 and 10 on Saturday? Absolutely not. But I don't believe that will be enough unless he gets a major contribution from Jeff Green or Blake Griffin. Now, James Harden, Skip, for me, now he did play better. I thought he played better offensively than what he played. He was a little less hesitant. The shots didn't quite go in for James Harden. But, Skip, we know James Harden doesn't really like to play defense anyway. So to say that he's a liability on defense is really not saying much. But I thought Holiday did a better job of trying to attack him. I thought they did a better job of trying to attack him on the offensive end and not let him rest. KD was still resting because P.J. Tucker just hides out in the corner. But let's give Milwaukee, let's not just focus on what the Nets didn't do. Middleton and Giannis were sensational. Giannis was spectacular because he's driving the ball. If I'm Giannis, Skip, I'm going into Game 7. I'm not shooting anything outside of 10 feet. Chris Middleton did at Holiday. Bruh, you got an advantage over Harden, who can't move, Joe Harris, whose talent and skill set is not comparable to yours. You have a decided advantage. Why would you attempt that many threes, Skip? Why? Don't need it. I've given up with Brook Lopez, Skip. He's going to be 7'1", and he's just going to jack up threes no matter who's on him. whether it's Mike James, Joe Harris, it does not matter who's guarding him. He's not going down in the paint to shoot the ball, to post up. So I've given up that. But the two superstars, and Holiday played sensational last night, and it was asking an awful lot for KD to come back and give you another one of those performances. And even if he had, without one of these other guys coming along with him, it still wasn't going to be enough to offset what the big three for the Brooklyn Nets, but the Bucks did last night.
So in the end, the Brooklyn Nets should be ashamed of themselves for losing by 15 in a closeout game to a team that at home made only 7 of 33 three-point attempts. 7 of 33.
Skip, this series should be over. The Milwaukee Bucks should be kicking their own booties self in the butt. They had game 5, Skip. They had a 16-point lead. The series should be over.
Oh, you're looking at it the other way, and I'm looking at it this way. It should be over for the Nets. So, Shannon, here's my bottom line on James Harden. I am baffled to the point of tormented about what's going on with his balky hamstring. You have pulled hamstrings before. I pulled a few in my day. And we both know that once it's pulled, you are done. You cannot run through it. You can't tough through it. You can't pain threshold through the hamstring pull. It just shuts you down like nothing will. The largest muscle in the body, and when it goes, especially if it tears, you are shut down.
Right.
Okay, so what do we know about James Harden? Well, we know that he came back and played at a very high level, like a James Harden level, against Boston in the first round of the playoffs. An average, let's just do the closeout game. He went 34, 10, and 10. So that's James Harden. And then in the first few seconds of game 1 against Milwaukee, it went again. And then once Kyrie went down with the bad ankle, then James sucked it up after a game and said, well, maybe I can try to go. Well, not only did he try in game 5, but he played 46 minutes on a quote-unquote pulled hamstring. Well, in my experience, your experience, you can either go or you can't go. So if you can go for 46 minutes and actually play a semblance of basketball, it's probably getting a lot better. And if you can turn it around 48 hours later and play another 40, what was he, 40-some minutes last night? 40,
he played 40 minutes.
If you can do that, then it would seem to be on the mend. To me, it has to be more in his head than in his hamstring. That he's afraid of it pulling again when it's saying to him, the signals it's sending have to be, we're okay down here. We got it. We're back in business. And for whatever reason, he can't regain enough confidence to push off. He has no explosion whatsoever because he doesn't try to have any explosion. So I've never seen anything like a guy playing on a hamstring, but playing, I have to put quotes around because he's just shuffling through. And if we could see, the first big telltale sign last night came with 4:26 left in the first quarter when he stole the ball, if we could see this, and looked like he had a breakaway, looked like he could have a solo breakaway. Took it away from Giannis, and he's off to the right. No, he's not. He wouldn't even try. He would not try to run. He just says, no, I'm out. And he circles and goes backwards and lets everybody run past him so he can just walk the ball up the floor and run a set play.
And that's what those hamstrings will do, Skip. You know it because, hey, you might want to step on it, and that thing said, nah, if I was you, I wouldn't do that.
I don't know if it's saying that or if he's just thinking that because he doesn't trust it at all. Well, I can't even believe. To me, it's an either or. Either you can play or you can't play. And once you get out there, as you know, coming off a hamstring pull, there'll be a moment when you get back out there and you say, you know what? I'm good. It's okay now. I can go, and you keep trying a little more and a little more, and you say, I'm back. Well, he won't even try. He wouldn't try to go solo break. And I don't know if it's in his head or if he's trying to protect it for the long haul because he knows that Kyrie's going to be out for a good while, maybe the rest of the postseason. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm going to give this up to you. We do have another 5 cases bet on Game 7.